Please welcome nationally syndicated radio host and New York Times best-selling author, Dave Ramsey.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks so much. Welcome. Welcome to Financial Peace University. Financial peace, two words that don't go together, like airline service. We're so glad you're here. I know some of you didn't want to be here tonight. Some of you, your spouse or your friend or your parents or your kids drug you here against your will. Some of you just don't want any part of this deal. Some of you, if you hear Dave Ramsey said one more time, you're going to kill something. I know you didn't want to be here. I was out in the parking lot a while ago. I saw several sets of heel prints on the way in. You were brought in here against your will. I got to tell you, if that's you, I'm more on your team than that nerd that brought you. Okay? Because I have done stupid with zeros on the end. I know what it feels like to have done stupid stuff with money. How many of you have ever done anything really stupid? Raise your hand. How many of you didn't raise your hand and have a problem with lying? How many of you are like me, you done something stupid, but you weren't just stupid, you were like enthusiastically stupid. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's like you're riding along and the speedometer on the car says, 80 miles an hour. I'm driving, my wife's looking at the map. She says, honey, we're going the wrong way. I said, yeah, but we're making great time. Well, that's what happened to me. I grew up not rich. How many of you grew up not rich? Yeah. And I remember coming in about 12 years old, asking my dad, I said, Dad, I need some money to go down to the Quicksec. We used to ride our bicycles down to the Quicksec over in Antioch, Tennessee. And we'd ride our bicycles down there and get an Icy or a Snickers bar or that $4.95 necklace out of the plexiglass showcase for that sweetie. You know what I'm talking about. I said, Daddy, I need some money. He said, how old are you? I said, I think I'm your son. I'm 12. He said, well, you don't need money, you need a job. And I got to learn about cutting grass that year. Oh, joyful. Any of you ever cut grass for some money? See, that's the kind of house I grew up in. If you learn how to get up, leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home. And so when I got out of school at 22 years old, met my beautiful wife Sharon, and we got started with our lives, we started off broke. Most people start off broke. How many of y'all started off broke? One lady's like, I'm still there. We started off broke, we were eating off a card table, driving a 1902 Pinto, you remember. We ain't got money, honey, but we got love. It's a good thing, too, because we ain't got no money. And I started buying and selling real estate, and I got rich. At least by a kid from Antioch, Tennessee standards. By the time I was 26 years old, I had a little over $4 million worth of real estate, a little over $1 million net worth, and I was making about $250,000 a year. Now, that's fun. That's like $20,000 a month income, and where I come from, that's rich. We were having a blast. I mean, we went to Hawaii and we liked it, so we went back. I went and got me one of those cars. You got that car you've dreamed about that if you ever got some money, I'd get that car. For me, it was a Jaguar. I needed a Jaguar. I went and got me a Jaguar, and man, within 90 days, I was a Jaguar. Bought my wife some of those sparkly things, and they weren't big enough, so we got her some more. It was fun. It was fun. Sometimes I hear those people say, all those rich people are miserable. Now, I'm not shallow enough theologically or philosophically to tell you that money's going to make you happy. It won't make you happy. But like my friend Zig Ziglar says, he says that you can't afford the Tylenol if you got a headache and you got a little bit of money. It gives you the wiggle room in life to make some choices. And that's what we're going to do spending our time together. We're going to learn about making some of those choices. And it's about kind of finding our way and knowing, how truth really works. 98% truth doesn't work, does it? 98% truth is a what? It's a lie. Because you see, something either is the truth or by definition, it isn't the truth. And what happened to me was I ended up having all that wealth and doing all that stuff right, but I did some stupid stuff. I signed up for a bunch of debt. And the bank got sold to another bank. I know that never happens where you come from. They change the signs like off of Velcro, don't they? They change them so fast. And you know, the guys that in another city now are making the decisions, and they looked down and said, hey, there's a kid here, 26 years old, owes us $1 million. And they freaked out and called our notes. And we spent the next 2.5 years of our life losing everything we owned. We were sued a bazillion times. We were sued so much, the little guy with the sheriff's department that brings those little pink lawsuit papers, we're like on a first name basis with the old boy, you know. Sharon's making him cookies, you know. Come on in, Harold, you know. We were foreclosed on a bunch of times. We had a bunch of real estate, and we ended up just losing it a piece at a time. And that 2.5 years was unbelievable. I remember standing with a shower so hot I couldn't stand it in my face, and I would just stand there and cry. I was so scared. And finally, with a brand new baby and a toddler and a marriage hanging on by a thread, we hit bottom, and we were bankrupt. I was on one of these TV shows the other day, and one of these talking heads said, so how did you bounce back? And I said, well, you know, really, when you fall that far, you really don't bounce. More of a splat, you know. And so I laid around at the bottom of that mess and cried and whined and moaned and blamed everybody else. You ever blame anybody else when you do something stupid? Yeah, turns out McDonald's does serve hot coffee, you know. It's all my fault. Like my dad used to say, you shot it, Tarzan, you eat it. So there I sat at the bottom of that mess. And I decided I was going to learn how money really works. Not what someone's opinion is. Not what your broke brother-in-law thinks. You know, I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about your Chamber of Commerce ideas. I'm not mad at the Chamber of Commerce, but I've heard all that garbage. And I got to thinking about it. I want to learn how this deal really works. And I went and talked to old people, old gray-haired people, and bald-headed people that had money and kept it. See, I don't want to talk to young rich people. I've been one of those. I didn't want my opinion. It didn't work, you know. And so I went and talked to people that won, and I started discovering this disturbing thing called common sense. Turns out it's like Benjamin Franklin used to say, nothing's more uncommon than common sense. And I started applying these devastatingly simple, easy to understand but hard to do things to my life, and it started revolutionizing my life. My wife Sharon and I were able to turn around and start walking together again. We had a sense of control, a sense of destiny, and now many years later we've led literally millions upon millions of individuals and families all around the world through these simple steps, through this simple process. And it's not magical, it's really, really hard. There's no big secret, there's no mystical thing here. It's tough. So if you're in this room and you know you're looking for a microwave, you're looking for a get-rich-quick thing, you're in the wrong room. You're in the wrong room. We sell crock pots. The stuff we teach is hard to do, but it absolutely works. But what we figured out is 98% truth is a lie, so you've got to align yourself with the truth. And when we found that, we were able to win. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Everybody stand up for a second.